Hey everybody, how's it going? We're here with a timeless reading. Welcome. The first card that we have out is King of Pentacles. And Queen of Swords. Seeing these two energies together can mean that rather than just being in one or only focusing on embodying one of these archetypes, that both of them are going to be necessary. I see that as one of the interpretations when I see court cards come out next to each other, especially because these feel like they're not opposing each other's direction. King of Pentacles, this sort of puts to the forefront your responsibilities, your obligations, the things that you need to be taking care of, especially to be able to sustain yourself. And then when we have the Queen of Swords there, it can mean that there could be some type of boundary that you need to be setting. So this can be like at work, I need to set some sort of boundary. It can mean that when it comes to responsibilities, you need to set some sort of boundary because you want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do as the King of Pentacles. And also too, with the Queen of Swords there, it's knowing that maybe you need to take sort of a little bit of a step back to evaluate your approach here. Because King of Pentacles has to do with all of the things that you're responsible for and all of the different roles that you play within your life. So it's not only in one area of your life, it can be multiple areas of your life. And Queen of Swords almost feels like this protective measure to make sure that you are showing up all of the places that you need to show up. That it's not just one place that you're showing up and then neglecting the other things that you're responsible for, but everywhere, especially because the Queen of Swords is represented by Libra. It is an air sign and it's an energy of balance, the necessity of balance, and how we can do our best and show up our best and most adequately when we are in a place of balance. Because King of Pentacles on its own can sometimes taking on more than necessary, or this is being asked of me, that's being asked of me, now I have to do this, now I have to do that. Queen of Swords feels like that part of you that is sort of going through everything that's being asked of you or all of your obligations and figuring out how to best show up for what you need to show up to, with, for, and having the energy of the Queen of Swords here can also mean that this is about maybe setting boundaries like, hey, I'm hearing that you want me here. I also have an obligation to be over here as well, and I need to take care of that too. And so how do we make this work? Can be that type of thing. And that's also the thing with the Queen of Swords, is that Queen of Swords is a diplomatic energy. So it's handling this in a way where there's an element of grace to it. Some of you can potentially be feeling like you're in this position and there's another person involved, some of you two people involved, and you can feel like one person is in your corner and another person isn't necessarily in your corner, and you can feel like you have to set boundaries with that person that's sort of on the outer but looking inward towards you. Even though I see this ultimately as being all your own energy, some of you're having this play out within a relationship that you have. Having this King of Pentacles here, this can be somebody in your life, and if you are the Queen of Swords, you can in this position feel almost like you want to set boundaries for this person, which I feel like it's kind of complicated if that is the case for you, if that's something that's going on. Because King of Pentacles is seen as being an adult, somebody that can take care of themselves. But this Queen of Swords can be somebody that feels like on behalf of the on behalf of the King of Pentacles, I'm stepping out here and I'm setting boundaries. And you see this Queen of Wands over here? So this can be a situation where there are 3 people involved, and this Queen of Wands can be somebody that sort of is wanting to come through. It's like they're regretting something, they're upset about something, they're disappointed about something, and they can be like trying to come through. But I'm seeing this person here be like, I don't know about that. It almost feels like a bodyguard for the King of Pentacles here. So there can be like a person in between these 2 people. But if all of this is your own energy, what this can mean is that something has happened now Yeah, some of you, I am seeing a situation of 3 people being here, and there can be somebody when we have Queen of Wands and we have 5 of Cups. So Queen of Wands connected with fire energy. This is somebody that may happen to pop off sometimes. This is somebody that can lose their cool sometimes. This is somebody that may have been reactive and then regretted it. So that's what I'm seeing within this energy. And now there can be sort of a wanting to come back in as these energies are facing one another. So this person standing here saying boundaries, and this other person over here like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm trying to come back through. But know that this can all be your own energy. You can have responsibilities that you're trying to take care of, and you can feel like you have to set boundaries with the part of yourself that can be reactive. That can be reactive sometimes. That can be... I even feel like a little bit of... If Queen of Wands gets offended for some reason, Queen of Wands can definitely be very fiery in the response. And so it feels like maybe something like that had happened. There can be and I did this impulsively, or I just reacted. It can be sort of that type of thing. But then having that 5 of Cups there can be this remorse about it. It can be this realizing sort of what was done. And this can definitely all play out within you. This can be happening within an area where you have a responsibility to show up in a certain way. And the part of you that's reactive sort of showed up and did something that now you're like, why did I do it? And now you feel like you have to set boundaries with yourself. And also this can be happening with you and multiple other people. It can be all of it. That's the beauty of tarot. It doesn't need to be exclusive. Everything can be included. Every interpretation can be included. And it can be all of these things happening simultaneously, just sort of on different levels, like different layers. So the energy that's connected with the King of Pentacles here, I'm seeing King of Cups underneath. And so what that means is that when there's somebody, I'm hearing tried and true, when there is a position that we need to step into where we have a responsibility to play a role, it feels like it's important to not be so reactive within the environment. And it feels like that is being very much supported by having this King of Cups below. So King of Pentacles, you have a job to do. Sort of regardless of what's going on, you want to make sure that you're doing that job and that you're not letting unnecessary stuff get involved, like not letting your emotions become involved in a way that ends up not allowing you to do what you need to do. Because there's nothing wrong with emotions being involved. It's when it hinders you from doing what you need to do as the King of Pentacles, and that becoming an issue then. Yeah, this feels like a mediation that's happening here. Having Queen of Swords and below it having Six of Pentacles feels like there's a negotiation that's happening. Keep in mind, this can be between your own energies. Yes, it can be with you and another person or other people, but this can also be, there's a part of you that is an archetype, and there's another part of you that's another archetype, and you have to make sure that both of these guys are feeling like they're being heard. Both of these guys are feeling like they're getting what they need. Both of these guys, like, their values are being honored here. So when you have the King of Pentacles, this can be making sure that you're showing up how you need to be showing up, and giving what you need to be giving. And when it comes to the energy of the Queen of Wands, there can be a big necessity to feel like Queen of Wands is going to look at the King of Pentacles and say, I want to be able to rely on you. I want to be able to depend on you. I want to be able to trust you when you say that you're showing up, that you're going to do something. And King of Pentacles can look at Queen of Wands and say, I want loyalty from you. I want to make sure that you're not looking at me as the enemy, but that we're actually working together here. That if something's going on, you're not taking it out on me, but that you're expressing it, you know, channeling that in a productive way. So then we're giving each other what we need here. Because Queen of Wands is going to be very inspiring to King of Pentacles. And it's kind of like, it's this mix that I'm seeing right now of the earth and the fire, which can work really well together, because earth can be like a homeostasis energy, and the fire can really motivate it. And the earth can ground the fire energy. And so this can actually be a wonderful combination when it's channeled properly, and it feels like that's what's being worked out, the relationship. And so there's a negotiation that has to happen here. And that rather than letting something unproductive get in the way of this, to sort of remain grounded and centered through this and work through this with a level head, where we're remembering the point of why we're here, the point of this, of what one is hoping to accomplish. And so the only way that this is going to work between these energies is first needing to be grounded and level-headed, which means that if one is not grounded, recognizing that and not going in and trying to work in that state. It's like trying to do something where you need to be precise and really focused while you're intoxicated by the energy, and that you need to be sobered, you need to be centered, you need to be grounded, and then you're going to be able to articulate clearly, and then it will be much more simple to have this negotiation work, because I'm seeing something that can definitely work here. There can also be some type of compassion needed as well. That can be part of this too. Something that's coming through, King of Pentacles, what is going to bother King of Pentacles, what's going to trigger them, if stuff is getting in the way of them doing what they need to do, like if somebody is becoming a nuisance, if stuff is happening that it's blocking some King of Pentacles from doing a job or meeting a goal or a responsibility that they have, that is not going to sit well with them. So that's something that will bother a King of Pentacles archetype. So this can mean that if that is the case, if that happens to be happening, that there's a necessity to become more flexible, because King of Pentacles can be a bit rigid sometimes. My plan was to do this and to do that, and that, and it was going to go like this, and then I was going to accomplish the goal at this time, and something may have happened where something is unfolding now in a way where that's not actually what's happening now. Like the plan has changed because life has happened. And so grounding one's energy and sort of connecting with that emotional, empathetic, compassionate side is going to be important, where life is not only a business. So there is that more, let me try to feel into this, let me try to drop into my heart space and connect from there. And then I'm going to be able to articulate clearly what's important to me and my values, but also with a side of compassion, where this isn't just this like heartless conversation that's being had, where it's like, these goals are important to me, and forget about the humanity, like forget about this person in front of me and forget about myself and my feelings. It will be more so coming from a place where there is this, the earth stuff that matters, and those goals and the jobs and the responsibilities and the perspective of how you're being perceived, and then also the embracing of the emotional side of that, the feeling side of that. And when both of those things are there together, it allows one to very much with diplomacy be able to communicate, these are the things that are important to me, but still be in touch when that's being communicated. Because this even feels like one coming into one's own and learning how to show up for oneself in a way where there is a self-expression that's being honored here, but this being something that one is learning to explore now at this point. Feeling like maybe this wasn't happening before. When all of these energies are working together, it's going to be a really smooth movement of everything. But what it looks like what's being implied is that it looks like something happened where there was like tension in the environment, or somebody reacted because they were feeling triggered or upset by something, and then was like having to deal with the emotional impact of that and all of the feelings about that, because that can be guilt, it can be the remorse, it can be the like, why did I do that, or why did they do that, it can be that whole thing. But then I'm seeing us end up with the Three of Cups, and what that means is that it ends up being reconciled, but it can only be reconciled if this energy is channeled effectively for this purpose. Compassionate negotiation. When one feels like they're slipping into a reactive or ungrounded space, to pull oneself back into a centered space. And that's what helps everything to come back together. That's what allows there to be that sense of harmony and that sense of, okay, things are okay now again, where it wasn't before, because something needed to be corrected. And this feels like it's going on both sides of things. This doesn't just feel like a one side of things. This feels like a both sides of things, or all sides of things, and the balance between all of that. What this can mean too is that when something happens and we feel offended, when something happens and we feel upset by that, there's something here about processing through that, and rather than holding that against yourself or holding it against another person, doing what needs to be done in order for there to be a negotiation that allows things to come back together. Because this doesn't seem like you're mortal enemies with this person. This seems like this is an environment where everything is supposed to be working properly, and it very much has the potential to. And this can also be your inner landscape as well. You don't need to be feeling at odds with yourself. This is something where you can feel like you have reconciled with these different archetypes within you that you're channeling, and that you don't have to feel like there's a part of you that's being neglected. All of these parts of you can feel like they are sort of getting what they need, and that their needs are being met, that they're being honored, and that they're being heard. And that is the byproduct will be that feeling of reconciliation. And it being emphasized too that that is the byproduct. Like, we can look at that and want that to be the goal, but really the goal is the negotiation. The goal is the harmony. The goal is the equality and the honoring and the needs being met. And when that is happening, the reconciliation will be the byproduct of that. There can be listening that's needed. Because we have Queen of Swords here rather than King of Swords, this means that there is a need to, even if at first you feel like, well, that person did that, or however you're seeing it, the feeling can at first be like, I don't want to hear that because I'm feeling offended right now, or like you did this to me or whatever. Having the energy of the Queen of Swords shows that we need to be listening, we need to be observing, we need to be tuning in. And if we're at a point where we're pushing something away and not listening, you're not going to hear the grounds for the negotiation. And so you're not going to be able to work with it. If you don't have all of the pieces and you're aware of all of the pieces here at play, you're not going to be able to work this out. So being in a space, getting into a space where you're willing to listen and willing to communicate is integral to this situation. And that's why the prominence here of having the King of Cups is showing up. Because if you are still like out of control emotionally, you're not going to be able to hear, you're not going to listen, you're not going to want to. And you're also going to be out of touch and not be able to recognize when somebody is coming through and genuinely is sorry. When someone is coming through and genuinely is remorseful or regretting something and actually willing to change and willing to recognize and take accountability. But if you're too mad with your arms crossed and your hands over your ears and out of touch with your heart space, you're not going to know if this person is genuine or not. You're probably going to assume that they're not because you're still feeling a type of way, and then nothing is going to happen here and things won't be able to come back together. So these are basically the ingredients for stuff to come back together, and I'm seeing it definitely be, it's able to. It's a possibility for this to happen. More than a possibility, it's a very, very probable option here to have happen, but ultimately you get to decide. And if you have another person or other people involved in this, it's going to depend on everybody. Because everybody has to be pulling their weight in order for this to work. All right, my friends, we're going to leave the reading here. I'd like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.